Welcome to the Paul Carson Studios, Vancouver studios for CHEK, and it is Steele and Vance on what kind of feels like a Friday going into a long Easter weekend.
I don't even remember that it is the Easter long weekend. It's like, really? It's a long weekend? Every week seems like, I don't know, it's Easter. Enjoy the Easter long weekend. I hope you have a good time. Like the people who were at the Junos.
Oh, so fun.
And if you were watching, you would have seen a former guest on our show, the winner of RuPaul's Canada Drag Race, Venus, made a surprise appearance with Nelly Furtado. I was thinking, hey, she looks familiar. I think that's Venus. I went to Instagram, and in fact, it was. That's a huge stage.
Yeah.
So, way to go, Venus. Looked amazing.
Oh, yes. So proud. I mean, like you said, you booked Venus after the big win, and then having her come in here, the first Indigenous drag queen.
From Vancouver. Too.
I mean, so much history there. Yeah. And then now up on stage with Nelly Furtado, who is We Love You, Nelly, here on the West Coast. Even the Junos coming to BC next year.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they're coming to Vancouver.
That's cool.
Yeah. You know what else is cool?
What?
Our viewing party this week. Oh, good prize alert. Yes, indeed. You know how to get involved. You take a picture of you watching Linda and I. You tell us where you're watching from. You email us, viewingparty@chekmedia.ca. And up for grabs this evening is a $100 gift cards to your choice of either Romer's or Steamship Bar and Grill, because Steamship is in Victoria. So
covering the whole province there. Got a lot of good stuff on the show today, starting with
Timothy Caulfield, the professor of health law at the University of Alberta. He is a regular guest here on the program. He is so great at debunking health myths. And last week when we started talking about the news around intermittent fasting, it opened up a bigger conversation. We got a bunch of mail, so we thought, let's get into what are the grifts, what's the disinformation, what are we looking at?
We're also going to talk about the carbon tax, because a lot of people are feeling the financial squeeze and are not thrilled that the carbon tax is going up again in April.
Yeah.
And so there's
Monday.
a new national poll from Angus Reid Institute, and it is showing that there is a conflict. There's a lot of Canadians who are saying enough is enough, and others going higher, take it higher. So we're going to have the president of the Angus Reid Institute, CHEK, on the show.
Pulling out the spin, removing the spin so we can understand what we're witnessing. And also we're going to talk about macular degeneration.
It's a big deal. A lot of people have it. Yep. And so there's no cure, but there are ways to slow it down if you're interested in that, because if you don't have it now, you might in the future. We're going to have ProMed founder Gord Birdie on the show, and he is the guy to tell us all things about macular degeneration.
All right. It is time for headlines. Can't believe we start here, Linda. I cannot believe this.
Another overpass hit, another semi, this one again at the Massey Tunnel. So tootling away, somebody on the dash cam catches this. How does the driver not think, gee, I wonder if my vehicle's over height? That is apparently the 30th hit or so in the last couple of years. This is crazy. And the government, I mean, what more can the province do? They're basically going to throw people in jail for this potentially, and yet, boom, literally another one.
I feel like that should happen at this point. Like if you can, it's not that, we've spoken to the BC truckers and they've said it is not hard to measure your load. It's also not hard to figure out if you have an oversized load, where to go.
Yeah.
Right? So
here's another thing that's just crazy. Globe and Mail did a story showing that there are pharmacies, dozens of them, all around the Lower Mainland that are giving kickbacks to drug users so that they will come and get their prescriptions at their pharmacy. And basically, they're jacking up the costs that you and I and everybody are paying through BC Health, and it's illegal. And they thought they'd stamped this out 10 years ago, and nope, it's back in action.
And we need to talk about this. We need to be upset about it. We need to take action on it, because this should not be happening.
No.
Speaking of not be happening, this is a little bit of a personal one for me. I'm not even sure if you know this. When IVF Brady baby was early, because I had an ultrasound, a prenatal ultrasound that showed that he wasn't growing anymore. He was starting to shrink. There was a problem with my placenta. He ended up coming early. So there's a piece of me, a pretty significant piece of me, that believes that that ultrasound saved my baby's life. And right now there is an issue at Surrey Memorial Hospital allegedly that prenatal ultrasound scans are not being done because there is a staffing shortage there. And while it seems like a small thing, it is huge. I mean, it just makes me sick to my stomach for the mother in this story who might feel like something might be wrong. So attention needed to things like this. And we hear about emergency rooms shutting down across BC due to staffing shortages and what have you. We need to shine light on this.
Oh my goodness. It's also election season because we're going to the polls this October and all the parties are busy nominating candidates. And the BC Conservatives were so busy, they announced, woohoo, we got this doctor and he's a great candidate. And then they pulled it back because guess what? He's a big anti-vaxxer who it turns out that he actually also believes that if you get the COVID vaccine, it makes you magnetic.
Magnetism.
What?
Like, what is even?
Surely they could have vetted this candidate.
You'd think.
Yeah.
I'm worried about Kelowna. I'm worried about Kelowna, the anti-vax rhetoric that is in that area.
Yeah.
I love Kelowna, and it's terrifying. But Rob Shaw with a good follow there. Follow our colleague Rob Shaw for sure. The e-bikes that were stolen, $850,000 worth of e-bikes?
Yeah, definitely over $500,000. This was from a warehouse in Delta.
Yeah.
And the owner of the company, Bictrix, came out, was super mad and said this.
Recently, we've been faced with a major setback as our warehouse in Delta, BC has been targeted by thieves. They stole an entire shipping container filled with our latest and greatest bikes, the Juggernaut FS Step Through.
So basically, they found the truck empty. They're probably all being sold in Alberta as we speak. This is crazy. The police are mad that that guy went public too.
I mean, again, it comes down to like, why do we not have more surveillance on the vehicles that are around this? Going door to door and asking people if they have any Ring doorbell footage. I mean, come on. We got to grow up a little bit and have our own surveillance. Maybe even watch over some of the plants that are being built when the initial cost of a water treatment plant is in the 700 million category and now is almost $4 billion.
Yeah, it started out that they thought it was going to cost about 500 million. Now they're going, whoops. So there were all kinds of revisions and problems, and then the company got, turfed, I believe. And now, guess what? North Shore residents, it's going to cost you apparently $750 more a year on taxes for the next 30 years.
And every one of us around Metro Vancouver has a piece to pay of that as well. It's just, how does it balloon to those numbers? It's shocking, really. We're going to get some money from Facebook, though, apparently.
A little bit. So Facebook has agreed to a settlement where it apparently was accused of taking your profile photo and using it in ads. They're not saying they did that, but we will pay out. Ching, ching, ching. So I think it's, 51 million, and each person will get back about $35, which is better than nothing.
We should grab that $35. I mean, let's talk about the CERB cheats now. It's all money in a row here. This is a frustrating one.
It really makes me mad. The federal government has found and fired 286 of its own employees who claimed CERB when they knew they weren't eligible. They're forcing them to pay it back. But a lot of people are saying to me, these people should be criminally charged. And I agree.
I agree with you too.
Because that's BS.
It's unbelievable. For all the people that made it through and white-knuckled it through and didn't do it, and for those who didn't need it to take it, is brutal.
The other thing that really frustrates me is all the vehicle thefts. They're happening so often right across the country, but in Ontario and in Toronto, some people are so frustrated and they've got high-end expensive vehicles, they're actually installing bollards in their driveway. What? This guy, I think, has I can't remember what it was, some super fancy car that he didn't want people to steal. He'd already had one stolen. So, hello, we got ourselves a big problem in this country, which the federal government acknowledges.
It's been going on for a long time. I had my car stolen from my driveway in Toronto. What is it now? Almost 20 years ago. It's been ongoing. We all woke up to this the other day. This Baltimore collapse of this bridge after this container ship just ran into the pillar. Like seconds later for that to catastrophically collapse. Thank goodness the Mayday went out and the traffic was stopped.
But still 6 people died, which is horrific. And then the idiots jumped on these big conspiracy theories. Oh, this was all, a plant and it was terrorism and everything. It was like, no, it was a horrific accident. And they had done, to your point, the Mayday. There was time for them to at least clear the bridge for most of the traffic, but those 6 workers,
terrible. And this is one of the major ports in the U.S. Like, this is going to be a huge problem for supply chain. We're going to see everything have to kind of go around. We're thinking of the families, but it also will impact many others, just how that flies things through.
One thing we should mention as well, P. Diddy, Puff Daddy, whatever he's calling himself now, Sean Combs, they did a big raid at a couple of his residences. It's connected to an alleged sex trafficking ring. Cuba Gooding Jr., the actor, is also being accused of some sexual impropriety involving men, too.
Yeah.
Ah! So there's more to come on that. That's a really disgusting and salacious story.
Yeah, and he was apparently flying around while places were being raided. We'll keep you posted.
Yeah.
But we got to get into the show.
Yeah.
We got too much to do here.
The great diet deception. Our next guest is on a mission to debunk pseudoscience. Professor Timothy Caulfield is up next.
And our viewing party begins with Alex. Alex, this photo taken by his brother Rob.
Barbara in Fort Langley, hello to you.
Bill and Sarah in Victoria, hello.
And Bob watching all the way from Phoenix, hello.
Love it, love it. Hi guys. Hey, you're entered to our draw to win a $100 gift card to Roamers or Steamship. You can get in on the fun by emailing us viewingparty@chekmedia.ca.